Well, here's kind of a thought just while we were talking. So, I think when kids, I remember this as a kid, when kids think like, what do I want to do when I grow up, and they say I want to be a hockey player, it's almost like they need to be more specific about like what that means. You know what I mean? So, like for example, if I'm when I'm a kid, when I say someone asks me, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I say, I want to be an engineer. So like if I ask you this question, like what does an engineer do?
If you would have asked me,
What does an engineer do? Just
I
like
would have
what is
said
your
he's on the back of a train.
okay, right?
First thought, but engineer, I would have thought like it would have been a real general statement.
Exactly.
Like totally
What
general.
I don't know what like
Yeah,
there's so many
they
different
design things.
Yeah,
They
so
have protractors in there.
right? So if
There.
I say to you now like, okay, like what does a hockey player do? Then it's like, okay, it depends which position or like what team or what like there's different things you need to specify to answer the question. So it's not like I'm a fireman. What do? I fight fires. Like I go put out fires. You know what I mean? So my point of bringing that up is when you're thinking about I want to be a hockey player, it's almost like there should be some thinking about it more like an actual job. Like what kind of hockey player do I want to be? You know, and like similar to if I want to be an engineer, it's like okay, an engineer means nothing. It means everything, and that means nothing. So like, do you want to be a design engineer? Do you want to be a manufacturing engineer? Do you want to be a computer engineer, a software engineer, a hardware engineer? And then there's sub disciplines even in that, right? So when you're thinking about being a hockey player, it's like start asking it more this way. It's like what role do I want to play within this team, or what role could I play within this team? So if I want to go work at
or what are three things that'll help my chances?
Yeah,
the three basic things that I have to do over and over.
Right. Because like if I was to go apply at like Tesla for a job or SpaceX or one of these huge awesome social media companies or something where it's like super cool.
I applied at NASA.
Did you?
Yeah.
For
I didn't get it. No, I didn't get it. They had no space.
Oh.
I just saw it yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do that, it would be different than me applying at like let's say I was going to apply at Ford. I wanted to be an engineer. For me personally, if I was to go apply at Tesla, I would just take that way more seriously, even though both jobs would be engineering. I would want to say like, okay, what do they actually need at Tesla so that I can increase my chances of working there because I actually want to work there, you know, as opposed to I'm going to go apply at whatever place to just get a job, you know? So when you're thinking about as a hockey player, it's like the same thing. It's like if I really want to play for the Detroit Red Wings, it's like what do they need? Like what try to figure out what do they need where they would actually hire me. So if you kind of try to frame it a little bit more like an actual job, it's not just hockey player umbrella category. Like there's just more to it than that, right? And I think my point, bringing this back full circle, some of these kids, they get these opportunities, but they can't make that jump from hockey player to this is a job now and what should I be doing? And that's like right in line with your roles conversation, right? This is now a job. What should I be doing for this company?
Yeah.
You know, they don't think of it that way.
You know, dude, the reality is too, because we have how many kids that are on that cusp of breaking in on these different leagues. And I live with one, right? And it's so easy. Like, you know, people can say this, it would be nice to be a hockey player, but you really actually don't understand in general what it takes. Like that kid he has a blast in life, but it's an everyday thing, right? And you could say, well, yeah, he's playing hockey. I said, okay, hang on there, 17-year-old, 20-year-old, or 30-year-old saying treat it like a job. It's like you still got to understand these kids are kids. Like that's what I'm talking about. These kids getting drafted, like they're not adults yet. And like to your point about treating it like a job, it's like most jobs aren't 7 days a week,
or starting when you're 18 or
that's
15
what I mean, or 15 when you decide that.
Yeah.
Most aren't. So like think about that. You get finished the season. You look at the summer. For most 16 to 20-year-olds, what does summer look like for them? They might have a summer job, and then
hang out with your buddies.
You're having fun, go to the beach and all that. Well, that's the last thing he gets to do, or guys should be looking at doing. And they look at the summer and they go, okay, I could have a weekend here and a weekend here where it might be a cottage, or maybe you let go and do whatever you got to do, but you have to pick your spot. So you got like you're planning your summer out. Well, that's what you have to do.
As a kid,
yeah. Most people think it's like, okay, you go to the gym and you do some skates. Like that would seem right, and you eat right. Okay, what does that mean? Well, but you have to eat right. If you're doing it right, you're having like maybe one day where you can let it go, like a rest day and let it go. But the rest of the days you're not getting up and just going, let's go have a stupid big breakfast at whatever place and go out and have. That's not, if you're dialed in, that's not what you're doing. You're eating healthy all day, for the most part, eating healthy, good, conscientious food, timing, 6 days a week. It's not fun. You get in the habit, but it's not fun. You're getting up on Saturday to do, like I always say, like going to the gym and shooting pucks and going on the ice and getting a skills coach. That's the minimum requirement, guys. That's minimum. What now? What are the things that are going to make you a hockey player? Is it getting your hand in a rice bucket to make your forearms like Bobby Hull's? Is it running? Is it yoga? Is it video? Is it so anyways, you separate yourself from the idiots. And I'm not okay, so one level deeper. Idiots aren't far away from you either. We just talked about this in the gym the other day, right? And guys were pissing around early before the workouts because they wanted to play another game of sewer, another game of sewer, another game of sewer. And he goes, yeah, it's getting a little much. I said, yeah, you better step up. Because the smallest thing, right? You can look at leaders. You can look at guys that are clowns or funny guys or guys that it's easy to hang around with because you laugh all the time and they distract you just a little bit. They take you an inch away or like 1 degree away from your target, and they do that 20 times. The next thing you know, your target's here and you're off here. So it's like you can be distracted so many times. So you got to be dialed in so much if you actually not want to make it, because some guys will make it anyways, but that's basically what it is. It's not easy, man.
Yeah. Well, I think like I lost my
your thought.
No, well, we started off talking about like thinking it like a job, and then going through that tangent. I think my last thing I think I'll add on is like when you talk about like the things that are distractions or things that can pull you away from the game, like what people need to understand is that it's not just for the moments that you're doing the distracting thing that is going to pull you away. Like there's lingering time of that effect. So for example, make it the most like extreme. Let's say I went on a cruise I was gone for 10 days. Okay. Didn't like half-ass worked out and not consistently. I was drinking, I was eating, I was not sleeping appropriately, whatever, for 10 days, which is a long time. That was 2 weeks ago when I got back. It's taken me those 2 weeks to make me feel like, okay, like I'm back into
to get back.
I'm back into the groove. I'm back into my schedule. So we shrink that down to, let's say, an athlete who's pissing around on a Saturday. It's like, well, you're taking your day off Saturday. It's like, well, if you eat like crap all day Saturday, that means Sunday's bad too, because your body has to rebound from that from Saturday. So that one day is actually 2 days, and then depending on, you feel like shit on Sunday. So what did you do Sunday? Is there a compound that leaks into Monday? Did you not sleep well? Like, so my point is like, when people talk about time off, distraction time, whatever, it's not just, oh, you went to play basketball for 2 hours and that was time off for you. Like it's just 2 hours. That's all. It's like, no, it's 2 hours, but then it's now you're recovering from 2 hours of basketball, right? There's also that arc, so like there's all these things that make it much more time consuming than you actually think. It's not just the activity that's pulling you away, and I think that's hard for people to grasp. It's not just that it's 2 hours of basketball. It's the 2 hours of going to whatever, hang out at the bonfire or whatever. It's those 2 hours, but then you also weren't conscious about what time you're supposed to go to bed. You also weren't conscious about anything you were eating during that time. It also took you an hour to get ready to leave. It also took you an hour to get back home. Then now you're late for this and that and this, and then that bleeds into the next day, and you have to recover from that. And there's these other pieces of it.
So many, man.
Without it being like,
you can't live a life.
Yeah, you can't live a life. I'm not trying to make it sound like that, but it is a reality. Like it takes time.
No, you have to.